we're going to be having some single-digit days coming towards us, and I'm going to go ahead and give this time to show you what we do to prepare for super cold days around here. First off, we make sure the horses have fresh, clean bedding, as they should always, and we make sure it's extra fluffy as it comes time for the cold, so they can bed down in something nice and warm rather than the cold, thin, covered floor. Out with the old and in with the new. Water is really important to be making sure that your horses have all the time, but especially when the weather's gonna get cold, you don't want them to stop drinking. So fresh water to encourage better drinking, and electrolytes help as well. Another option is salt. A lot of people add salt to their horses' feed to add to continuing to make them want to drink. A lot of these things I do think are self-explanatory and should be normal practices, not just in case of emergency practices, but you also need to make sure your buckets are clean. No one wants to drink out of slimy buckets, it's gross. And when it comes down to the ice, you guys want to make sure that you're gonna have extra buckets so you can rotate them. Bring the ones inside that are frozen and make several trips to the barn to make sure there's always availability to water. When those are froze, bring the other ones into thaw, fill the brand new ones, repeat the process. It just makes it easier and keeps it cleaner, encourages them to drink more water. Like I said, very important. Again, everyone has their own practices and ways of doing things, but bedding is going to be important. It's going to help with keeping the warmth. This is going to be one of those things that people have different opinions on. I think if you're going to randomly drop temperatures by like a significant amount, I think it's helpful to put blankets on. I'm in the process of trying to get a few more for my other horses, but on normal occasions, if your horse can handle it, you don't have to. But I do believe if you're gonna have a significant drop, it is smart to help with it, because horses can be really sensitive with the temperature change. They're dramatic little babies. We love them though, but they can be really sensitive with the whole C word that we don't want to talk about. Another important thing to talk about, hay. So another thing with a lot of opinions, a lot of gray areas, and a lot of ways to split the story and get sidetracked with other details. But personally, I think that you should add hay to what your horses are normally given. But this is where things change. Some people will randomly throw a bale and make sure that they're eating to create body heat, which makes sense. But to me, it's one of those things, that C word. C word is something to really watch about, because if you're changing the weather and all of a sudden randomly one day you throw 3-4 times the amount of hay out there, I think personally that might spark up some issues. So I mean, I would add a flake or two to each feeding, or throw it in the middle of the day, or however you do it if they're not outside. But I would add some, but I wouldn't go overboard. That's just my opinion. Another thing I like to do is, if you have gaps under the door, take a tarp, old comforter, old blankets, whatever, and line the bottom of the doors to prevent that much more cold airflow from coming in.